Hey everybody, Bones here, Bones Garage, bringing you an update what's going on at the garage. So, 1970 Dodge Super Bee, coming out really nice. We now have the new master cylinder in, and the reason we had to replace it, even though he hardly ever uses his car, he maybe puts 500 miles a year on this car, they still have parts that go bad. The reason the master went bad was because when you don't use it, it builds up a lot of corrosion inside the cylinder bore. The cylinder bore now builds up all that corrosion, all that rust, all that dirt, and the next time you push on the brake pedal, all that dirt acts like sandpaper and kills the seals. Next time you push on the pedal, what starts happening is all the fluid bypasses those seals. Instead of compressing, going through the lines and applying the brakes, it now just bypasses those seals and goes from the front of the piston to the back side of the piston and starts leaking out through the back side of the cylinder. The master cylinder, that is. So the only way to fix that is to just replace it. So that's what we did. We painted it up, used a brake fluid resistant paint, which lasts a few years. It doesn't last forever, but it will last a few years and keeps it looking a lot nicer, keeps it from being just bare metal and rusting. So that's what we did there. The next thing we did was we replaced all four wheel cylinders at all four corners, front and rear, because they were all starting to leak. And again, the same reason they were leaking as the master cylinder was leaking, just age and rust and lack of use. So we replaced them all. We also replaced all three brake hoses, the two fronts and the single rear, because they were just getting old, dry rotted, cracking, and one of them was just starting to weep. So best bet, just replace them. It's so much better. The next problem we had was when they replaced the under dash harness, they were still having a problem with the light fuse blowing. Somebody had put a fuse in with a piece of aluminum foil wrapped around it. In other words, what they did was they just deleted basically the fuse, let the power go directly into the wiring harness. Well, that's a problem because the fuse is there for a reason. When we got the new underdash fuse wiring harness back in, which is right there. That's all the underdash wiring harness. And we put the fuse in the fuse block, which the fuse block sits over there. We turned on the lights, and the fuse blew again. Now we put the new underdash harness in that the owner supplied for us, and we had also put the new rear light harness in, which again, the owner supplied for us. The reason we did the rear harness is because the rear harness had a big burn in it. It went from front to rear. It was all burnt. All the wiring was burnt. So with that, I started unplugging everything. The first thing I did was unplug all of the rear taillights. So the two side marker lights, the brake lights and turn signals, as well as the regular lights, and the reverse lights. With that, we still kept getting the fuse blowing. So the next thing I did was start unplugging all of my dashboard lights and completely unplug my rear light harness from the rest of the car, from the front half of the car. And that's where the rear light harness plugs in, is right over there. Put another fuse in, turn the lights on, boom, same thing again. So put everything all back together from the dashboard back, and then we went ahead and unplugged the front light harness, which is that one right there. Put the fuse in, turned on the lights, and all the lights went on and stayed on for the rear of the car as well as the interior. Well, now I know that the problem is in the front harness somewhere. Where, I don't know as of yet, but I kept searching. So the next thing I did was I went here, follow my wires, and I tested each one of these plugs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One's a ground and the rest are for all the lights in the front of the car. And as we went through, we turned on the headlight, the other headlight, the turn signals, the marker light, the other turn signal. And then when we got to the last one, which was this marker light, the circuit breaker inside my power probe, which is right there, blew. So I knew that there was a problem with this light. And I will now show you that problem. This is the left front marker light, and there is the problem. The socket completely, this is the socket for the light bulb, completely rusted out and shorted inside, which then started shorting to the wires. It shorted all the way through the wires into the actual headlight harness, and you can see down there that it's burnt. All down through here, it's still burnt. So what I did was I completely took this light out of the circuit, plugged the headlight harness back into the firewall, and turned on my lights. Everything worked. So we definitely knew that this was our big major problem. Went ahead, ordered a new one. We also ordered a forward headlight harness because we know that is now bad as well. And all of these issues were caused by them or somebody putting a piece of aluminum foil where the fuse should be, taking out the actual fuse. And that caused, I'd say, about 99.9% of the damage that had happened to his wiring harness, which costs a lot of money to replace. Wiring harnesses usually take about 40 hours to install, to remove and install. So there you go, guys. That's what's going on with this car. She's coming along great. Couple more days, we should have her all back together and running. I will keep you up to date as we go. Have a good one. Talk to you soon. Okay, bye.